Welcome to the Forward Miami Show. I'm your host, Damian Pardo. We're thrilled this day to have Nicholas Martinez with us here from the group Nic N'Taya. And Nick just closed as the headliner for the 𝘔𝘪𝘢 Festival, which was just yesterday in Little Havana, Miami, Florida. And if you don't know about 𝘔𝘪𝘢 Festival, it's one day that celebrates all of our differences. It asks everybody to leave those behind and just come to Little Havana, have a good time, have fun, and pass the day. Our hashtag is Live Your Story Here. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. One day we can do it, all be together, have fun, and it also gives us a little hope that we can do more going forward. Sure. So Nick, you were amazing. You were amazing. And you know I'm a big fan of you and your music and your band. And I've been watching you now for years, many, many years. You've been at our festival, coming back year after year. And I'm proud to say that you are one of those acts that kills it.
Thank you.
I remember I was shocked the first year when you were there because it was at a time, I think it was 1 o'clock or 1:30.
Correct.
Yeah, it was like 1 o'clock, which is normally a slower time, in any festival. But when you showed up, you had a crowd, and I was like, "What is going on here?"
People stayed.
I'm like, but what? It blew me away, honestly.
Thank you.
And you have a genre of music that's very unique. I think it's called Changüí.
Correct.
So I thought we start you telling a little bit about you.
Okay.
You know, you were born in Miami in Hialeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. First, I want to say thank you for the opportunity, due to the fact that it's rare to have those type of opportunities. And I mean, within the years, you've given more opportunities. This time was to be the headliner. So thank you for that. Thank you, 𝘔𝘪𝘢. Yes, I was born in Cuba. Came to the United States when I was 9, 1995. My dad brought us, my mom and my brother. We came here in 1995. I studied here, Ma'am Walters Elementary, Filer Middle, and then I went to Hialeah High. I was raised in Hialeah, but when I got to Hialeah High, I fell in love with Cuban music again because I've always liked music. However, I did not know that Cuban music was my thing until I got to high school. That's basically what happened there.
And what about it? What about it is
it took my attention. I've always been very Latino-like. I was in an actual group called Semi de Puerto Rico. I was playing Puerto Rican music, playing a bomba, those type of genres that are actually cultural from Puerto Rico. And basically what I was doing was doing music, and then I got to Hialeah High and found out about timba cubana, and that took my attention, and that's how I started learning how to do music.
And what is timba? How would you describe it?
Well, there's one thing. The way we say it, some people say it's first están los changüí, el changüí, después el son y después la timba. Después la salsa y después la timba. So there's a saying that says, I don't know if people don't understand, it's sin changüí no hay son y sin son no hay salsa. And then sin salsa no hay timba. So I think it's an evolution of the actual genres. It's just different. Timba is more aggressive. It's way more aggressive. You have more freedom to explore the instruments, but it has to be well done because if not, it sounds a little bit, not
what it should be.
Exactly. But
Changüí is how?
Changüí is basically, as the beginning, the type of Changüí I do, it's not the original Changüí. The Changüí I do is a modern Changüí. It's totally different than salsa. To play the instruments, you have to know the genre.
So the genre is very important.
It is very important. All the instruments do totally different things that they would do in salsa. So in order to be able to play that type of music, you have to know how to play it. Not necessarily means that it's harder than salsa, than harder than timba. Has nothing to do with that. It's more you have to know what you're doing in order to be able to sound that way. Mm-hmm. I personally, I love it. That's why I decided to do it. To me, it's the best music. I know how to play it. I know how to go around it. I can play with it back and forth.
Dude, but you're a performer.
Thank you.
You're a performer. I mean, you did great yesterday, and you saw the closing. I mean, it was thousands
great.
And thousands.
Yes. And people were there having fun. I mean, how we say it, dando cintura, breaking the hips.
But
it's rare to see that type of genre here in Miami. We're the only ones that do it here in Miami. There's only, I think, like 3 bands that do it all over the world. The type of Changüí that I do, because I don't do the original one. It's upbeat, very fun.
Yeah, it is.
The type of music, it's all about having fun.
Yeah.
And that's something that, describes me as a person. I'm always very energetic. You see it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically what it is.
And let's talk a little bit about music here in
Okay.
Miami and your career and kind of like your path.
Okay. I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, it's been hard because unfortunately I did not study music. That was one thing. My mom, my dad didn't have money to be able to be part of the actual band, which I had a really good band. So I would always start the first month, but then after that I was not able to buy the actual, all the gowns and all those things that they have to wear.
Yeah.
So it was, I've learned by myself. And
Wow.
that
means
was
it's
me.
passion.
It's a lot of passion. I mean, I've done everything to be able to do music, to do live music. Not that I'm against playback, but I don't agree with it for me.
Right.
So I do take pride in having a full band, and I have a 12 musician band. I would love to have a 16 musician band, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen eventually. I mean, I see myself doing it the right way, and that's the only way. I will die doing it the right way. That's just me, but that's I'm hard-headed.
I understand.
That's just the way I
can relate.
But yeah, it's hard. It's hard because locally, I don't think we have the support that we should be able to have. I think, like I said, foreign someone that not from here sometimes do get more support. It is a cool place to be, and it's a cool place to travel and be able to perform. But sometimes we do forget about local artists, which that's great because I want to change that little by little.
Well, we do too. I mean, we've had conversations about that. And, we were talking about how sometimes the way Miami-Dade County and the funding happens in philanthropy,
Correct.
we see pockets that are kind of given, I don't want to say attention, but given support, financial support. Maybe there's just not enough to go around. But as we go out west, there's just
correct. Yeah,
it's like a desert.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, you're talking about just money for a uniform or for a thing. So I think that we need to do a better job as Miami-Dade County and South Florida in general,
Correct.
at supporting our local artists.
I agree.
Personally, I've always been amazed and shocked, and I feel like it's a secret, like it's the formula for Coca-Cola. That we have a credible talent locally, just incredible.
We do.
Like mind-blowing talent.
It is.
And people that, because they've had to leave their home countries, a lot of them, or coming from different places, starting over here, they're here. And we don't promote that. We don't lift them up.
We don't. No, we don't. And it's rare. And sometimes places, they're just looking for business strategies. So if you go to, for example, if you go to a restaurant, what happens is that you see a band of 3 people. It has nothing to do with the owner. The owner, he has a budget, but it does, it's a little degrading for musicians. And I mean, the owner of the business has nothing to do with the musician's career, but there's just something odd in regards to music here in Miami, like live music. And it's just, it doesn't, as a musician, it's hard to find a job here. Sometimes people tell me, oh, you're a musician, you're doing good. And a lot of people see me doing good, but then they don't know all the things we have to do to be able to promote your music, be able to have a full band. There's a lot of people that give up. A lot of good musicians, just the ones that you just said right now, they do give up because it's hard to be able to live here in this place just off of music. It's extremely hard.
Which gets more expensive.
And it's just difficult. But the good thing is that Miami's Miami at the end of the day. If you're able to make it in Miami, I mean, you
can make it anywhere.
Anyway, so let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I think also, we do the festival, and I think we run up against a lot of similar things. I think sometimes that there's a mentality, and in Spanish we call it the bodeguero mentality, or
Gotcha.
you know, the mentality of the small grocery store, where everything is kind of like negotiated.
Yes, everything is
Which
negotiated.
which can be brutal, especially when you're a talented person.
Correct.
It's very frustrating because you know, people recognize your talent. People can see you. They see the light, you know, within you, and then each time you come up against this wall, there's just negotiation.
Correct.
You know, so I feel your pain. I see it. I see it, and I'm trying to think how as a community do we change that?
I don't have that answer. I mean, that would be for business. Sometimes everything here is about business. So, I mean, it's hard. It's hard because, you know, art, it's not something that's going to change someone's life. It's gonna give you happiness. You know, if you're listening to an album, it is gonna give you happiness, but it's not the bread and butter of an everyday basis. So, and it's hard for someone to understand that we need art, real art.
Or they're worried about food.
Exactly.
Or they're worried about, or they want a boat.
Yeah, which is okay.
Yeah.
But, and then at night, they just want to go to a club, have fun, throw bottles here, bottles there, VIP. But in reality, there's no substance in the music. There's no tradition. There's no cultural well-being, to tell you the truth. It's hard to be able to influence with real music when nowadays everything is digital.
Right.
Even what you hear in the clubs is digital. So I'm all about organic type of music.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think I'm pretty modern. So it's not about being old school. It's just, I mean, I like a drum set playing. I like the piano when it sounds. Yeah. But, the youth nowadays, they don't see that. They like the digital music more than the organic music. But, I'm trying to change that. And that's,
well,
like I said,
I'm going to say, I don't think the youth is the youth, right?
Yeah.
So they don't know what they don't know, I mean, I'm honest from my own experience, because I didn't know what I didn't know. And when I was young, and I'm gay, so I used to go to a gay club. Well, there's very little live at a gay club unless it's a drag queen.
Okay.
Like there's very everything, and even most drag queens are singing to a track.
Correct. Yes.
So all you hear is DJ,
all day.
techno, ultra, that kind of influence, and it is awesome music, and I loved it,
and I'm not against it.
I'm not either. I loved it, but where I'm going with that is that the first time that I went to a live music venue,
That's when it hit you.
no, it blew my mind.
Correct. Yeah.
It blew my mind because it was not. I didn't even know that was there. I didn't know that. And what I mean by that is I was mesmerized by the conga drums. I was mesmerized by the guy playing timbal or whatever.
Gotcha, yeah.
Like I can't even name the instruments, but I was mesmerized. What they were playing, the way their hands were moving, and the expressions on their face, the happiness, the glow, and the interaction of everything. Correct. It was a vibe that you can't get in those other settings.
Correct.
You just can't get them. So I feel like I just didn't know what I didn't know.
Correct.
But the moment I got introduced to it, I didn't want to go back.
So we need more exposure.
That's what I'm saying.
For example, I can give you a comparison in regards I went to France. I had a concert in France. That was amazing. The way people there see real artists, and I'm not saying the other ones are not real, but the way people see a band, they respect it.
Live.
Yeah,
yes,
live music, they do respect it. It's just incredible. They respect someone that plays an instrument. And it was shocking to me because I don't see that here. I don't see the support from, and I understand, we go to work. We work more than 8 hours a day. When you go out, you just want to have fun. And that's why sometimes we have those type of, we have that mentality. Because, you just want stress relief. You want to go to a club, have fun, do what you have to do, and just get out.
Let me ask you a curiosity of mine, because we were talking a little bit, and you said, they would rather have somebody from New York or some other place.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, because I think there is a great diversity here of Latinos. So we're very supportive of our culture. If you're Cuban, you're gonna support you're Cuban. Yeah. If you're Colombian, you're gonna support. So sometimes we are a little bit divided, and we choose to go to a place where you feel
Represented.
good, represented. So that happens a lot. We don't act. I personally think, it's just my personal opinion, not to offend. I don't think sometimes we don't act as one community. We're a little bit separate, and that's sad because the way I feel, I'm from here. I was born in Cuba, but if you tell me, do you feel more Cuban than Hialeah? Let's put it that way. I don't know if that exists though.
It does now.
It does now. There you go. But I feel more Hialeah. It's that mix of being Cuban and at the same time being in the United States here in Miami. So yes.
And I always say Miami, and like I feel, this is this is
me.
This is
me,
and this isn't
exactly
like any other city for me.
Correct. Yeah. So to me, this is my life, and everywhere I go, I'm gonna represent it. Like I said, I went to France. I had a concert. It was probably 3,000 people. And I always say, yo no soy criado allá, soy criado en Hialeah. So I always take it. I'm kind of like Pitbull. Yeah. He's Mr. 305. I'm kind of like the same because I do love this place. And this is my place. It's my hometown. It's everything to me. Everything.
Nick, I was wondering about agency and agents. Because sometimes I think that those folks that are coming from other places are represented by people that have contacts here.
Correct.
That get them. How does that work?
I don't know exactly, but I think it's for a business perspective. I think it does make sense for the person who's actually bringing them here to Miami. Like I said,
what do you mean?
I mean, if you're bringing a band from, let's say from another place, I don't want to put a name, from another place, that there's a crowd that knows that band, that knows that artist. That there's going to be money involved there, so you're going to be able to make a profit out of it. Mm-hmm. While right now, locally, you have to make the artist. There, you have to give the opportunity to the exposure. The artist has to have the exposure. It takes longer. Right now, it takes longer than if you want to make quick money, then you bring someone that has somewhat a crowd going on here and be able to do a concert, make your money, and that's it. With a local artist, it's a process. You have to create an album. You have to put the money out there. It's just a different mentality. And as of right now, local artists here, I don't think they have that much help. It's incredible. I don't think they do have the
describe
help.
A little bit like your path and the struggle in that path.
Well,
like you just mentioned album, like before the album, what were the steps? What were the things you had to do to get?
So the first thing I decided was that I wanted to do Changüí. A lot of people told me I was crazy. Why? There's a reason why. Because first of all, it's a type of music that you don't hear in the radio no more. Everything you hear in the radio is digital. And sometimes you hear some salsa here and there. So salsa is not it's not there. It's gone down. It's not where it used to be. And then I'm coming up with an actual genre that it really no one has followed that type of music. So I decided to do that one because of that reason. I'm gonna be the one that's gonna put it there. Right. You're
good
crazy.
Attitude.
That was, and then started doing Changüí, called a certain amount of musicians. Started doing what we call maqueta. That's how we call it. Created an album. And people say you have to have a lot of money to be able to do an album, especially if you want to record. So I had to work 5 to 9, and a lot of people tell you, oh, but you're a musician and you're working. Okay, you're not as good. No, wait, hold up. I'm working because I want to make the Benjamins to be able to create my album.
So you had a full-time job on top
absolutely,
of that.
Yes. Not for the first album only, not for the second album only, not for the third album only. I've been having a job to be able to maintain my music, to be able to maintain my goals. So
and your family.
And my family, absolutely. Yeah, I have 3 kids. Wow. And so you have to be very responsible at it because probably, an artist, I think, should have a kid when he's probably 62. I'm not gonna lie. Because, if you really want to make it, you have to dedicate, the time that you have and the time that you don't have. That's just the bottom line at it.
How much is an album, more or less?
It all depends.
Yeah.
My first album, I was recording in a restroom. It was because he had,
the right acoustics.
Yeah, and then it wasn't as professional, but then with time it became better and better. Also, you start knowing people that are willing to help. You need to, as as an artist, you have to find someone that believes in you. I have the opportunity right now that I'm working with 𝘔𝘪𝘢𝘮𝘪. He's a really, really good musician. I think he's one of the best. He's my GOAT in the bass here. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you, when you find that arranger that knows what you want and does what you want, then stick to that person. Everything goes flawless in regards to when we're doing music all together. And then, the project starts going on. One thing, and I want to say it before I continue. Let's say if you don't have anything perfect when you started doing music, if things are not going the right way, it doesn't matter. Continue doing it. Why? Because if you stop doing it, then you're just going back to scratch, So when they tell you, I'm not going to record because I like to do things the right way since the beginning, starting from the beginning, it's impossible.
You'll never get there.
You never get there. You do your first album, regardless if it's not what you expected. Hey, you know what? Learn from those mistakes. Go to the next one. And then go to the next one and go to the next one. And don't stop. Because when you stop, that's when people forget about you. And that's why I think...
And is that a fear?
No, because I'm not going to stop. I will not stop. That's just the way I am. And I've lost a lot of things in my life for just pursuing my music career. A lot of things, a lot of opportunities in regards money-wise. But you know what? I don't mind. I don't mind because music is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it no matter what,
So you got to the albums.
Yep. So I did 5 albums.
Wow.
Yeah. Impressive to me is that majority of the people that listens to my music, they're not here in the United States. They're actually in Europe.
Really?
When I went there was a guy that it was in after the pandemic. He started crying. He came to me and he said, because of you, I was able to go through COVID. And I was impressed I cried and everything.
Yeah, that has to really...
France to me was an experience that hit me so hard in regards to, positive, because that made me want to continue doing music. Because there's been time that I said, I'm not going to do this no more. Let me just stop
Thank God, man.
But no, I'm not gonna stop. No matter, it's hard because I get depressive if I don't do music. So I can't.
So you have no choice.
I have no choice.
You have to keep at it.
That's correct.
And after you finish the albums, is that where we're at now?
Correct. Yes. Actually, I just finished another one. I've been doing albums. Last year was the only year that I've been with my band now, with Changüí band, 5 years, about to go into 6. I've done 4 albums every year. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going on my 5th one, which is really my 6th one, because when I was 21, I did an album. Mm-hmm. I'm all about creating music. I'm all about, sometimes I see an artist and I'm like, okay, so you're a musician. Yes. Okay, so someone gives you an arrangement and you play it. Okay, good. What have you created? What's your creation? What do you do that it makes, sets you apart from the other ones? And that's how I see things. I did not study music, but my head is all about music. So I decided to create music. So that was my escape. Music is my escape and everything in my life at the end of the day.
And right now, how did you get the name Nic N'Taya?
My ex-wife was actually the one that gave me that name, because on Hialeah High, when I saw all my Cuban fellow friends, I was always saying N'Taya. Oye, eso está N'Taya, N'Taya here, N'Taya there. And she was like, why don't you use the word N'Taya for your band? Just put N'Taya, and I did it that way. And it actually came out pretty good, because at the time we wrote it, it was N'Talla. Mm-hmm. Then another band in Peru got the name, and I was like, wait, I don't want to have the same name that another band, because they actually saw the name, so they took it, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to change it, and I'm going to put a Y. And actually, if you read it in English, you're able to read N'Taya, right. So you can kind of the right way. Exactly. So
it works for pronunciation.
And then with time, I removed the K from Nick, because I'm Nick, and my name is not Nicholas, it's Nicolas. Yeah. So I decided just to do it N-I-C and then N-T-A-Y-A. N''T-A-Y-A.
No, that's awesome. And looking forward, what is it that you're most excited about? Where do you think the band is headed, like the trajectory?
Great question. Great question, because I have a new song coming up with 𝘔𝘪𝘢. He's a reggaeton famous rapper, one of the most successful rappers that Cuba has had in the last years. I'm a fan of his art, and also that song, it's going to be promoted the right way. We're coming with a whole brand new video clip. You see, that's what I was saying, you know, little by little, you're able to do what you wanted to do since the beginning, but you cannot just start from the beginning right off the bat, doing great things. So right now we have that song. Hopefully we're gonna have it in the radio as well. Things are looking good. We're gonna go to Colombia. Actually, for your festival, it was the first time we sang a potpourri homenaje to Grupo Nietzsche that we did.
I saw that online.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. We're going to Colombia. We're going to go to Europe again. I mean, we do have things going on. But what I really want the most is for my home crowd here to be able to know the type of work I do. Because when I do, they love it. You saw what happened there in the festival, and I thought it was great. People were so happy and they were dancing all over the place. So I mean, that's...
No, and I think another important thing to point out is that you are incredibly diverse and inclusive.
Thank you.
Meaning that if there are all kinds of festivals, certainly any kind of pride, any of the events that are community-oriented events, and they want to create a space for this kind of music specifically, and our local artists that deserve a lot more support and love from us, they should be contacting you. They should be getting in touch. I mean, what is an easy way for folks that might be watching to connect?
You can follow me on Instagram, Nic _N'Taya. Basically, you can follow me there.
Say that again. N-I-C.
Yeah, N as in Nancy, I as in India, C as in cat, _ N as in Nancy again, T as in Tom, A as in Alpha, Y as in yes, and A as in Alpha again. So yeah, you can find me there. I mean, one thing, I tell if you want to have a fun party, that's us right there. A lot of people tell me, oh, I don't know how to dance salsa. It's not really dancing salsa. It's not just about just dancing with a partner. It's about having fun. And that's...
By the way, I'm glad you said that, because when you look at your crowds, and I've been to a lot of your lot of your performances, they're not dancing salsa
at all.
No, they're jumping up and they're having fun.
Yes. Right. You see, and sometimes my friends, musician friends, they actually tell me, you're like the reggaeton of salsa, because sometimes I like people to dance, but I want you to enjoy the actual sound of the band, and I want you to do what you feel. It's not a strict or something that has to be strictly choreographed, So it's fun. It's all about having fun. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you a weird question, but it's a question I like to ask. If you had like a magic wand, something that could change everything in Miami or Dade County, South Florida, what would be your wish? Your
to change. I mean, everything is great. I just think that we should be able to, in regards to art, we should be able to pay attention more to actually legit talent. And I'm not saying, I'm saying people that actually play live music. We are not doing that,
Why do you think that is? Just because it's the trend, or?
It is a trend. It is a trend. Digital music is taking over.
How do we bring more exposure of live music to the public so that they can? I'm convinced that when they see it, they're hooked.
You're saying community, political wise?
Any wise, any which way.
I mean, because I'm so against telling an owner what to do and what to bring to their actual business. I'm against it. But talking in regards to the community and political wise, they should be able to spend more money in regards to real art. Sometimes we do great festivals, amazing festivals. Big here, big there.
You mean the kind that the county puts on, the city puts on, other municipalities put on?
Taking into consideration the art, not just putting a great stage, great speakers, sound, everything looks beautiful, because majority of the things in Miami, they look great. But then when you see the band, it doesn't get to you because musicians are not gonna. If you don't pay what I'm supposed to, they're not gonna work.
Right.
And sometimes you see a band with 3 people, and I'm like, what is this?
That's what they end up doing, right? They reduce the cost structure.
Exactly.
So you end up with like a watered down version of what you really sound like.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think art should be taken more into consideration, real art, other than just looking cool.
Yeah.
That's
Miami's accused.
And I'm
of.
sorry I don't find the exact way to explain it because I really don't want to hurt no one's feelings.
No, I think you've done a good job, though.
You know, it's hard. It's hard. Miami's hard. But for example, your event, Gay Ocho, it's awesome because it brings real talent to it. And you do take it into consideration. Like I said, I'm extremely happy to be able to close and be the headliner. That opportunity, I've never gotten it, and I've embraced it or never gotten it from another festival. And for example, Cuba Nostalgia gave me the opportunity as well. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find those because if you go to other festivals, you see that everyone is just get on the stage, act like if you're singing, get out of the stage, the other artist comes, and that's the way they work. It's sad. Yeah. It's sad, you know.
Well, listen, I'm hoping that folks see this, the right folks, maybe in decision-making spots.
Okay.
And that maybe we're part of a little bit of change that we can bring here, and not just for you and your band, but for the entire live music scene.
Okay.
You know, here in South Florida. Hopefully, we make that difference. And
you've made the difference with me. I'm gonna tell you, you don't know how happy I am to be able to be part of your festival. The way you guys treat us is just amazing. And I'm really saying this from the bottom of my heart because, you know, for an artist like me, raised here, and I'm not complaining of any type of support that I haven't gotten. You know, that's just the way it is. You know, we have to work our way through, and we have to struggle. We have to hustle, and that's the way it is. You know, if you really want something, you have to go at it. And the way I see it is that even if I don't make it where I want to make it, I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop. You know, I'll prefer, you know, to die trying it than not trying it and just live another type of life, because at the end of the day, my heart is a musician's heart. So that's who I am. You know?
Well, you know, we've been talking about music, but I think that's a good life lesson for everybody. Just you find your passion, your heart, and you don't stop. I have no doubt that you're going to be in very, very big places, brother.
Thank you.
You're going to be doing great things.
Thank you,
know?
Thank you.
And I'm happy that we had the opportunity to help showcase, you know, a group like yours.
I said, I'm extremely honored to be part of the festival, and hopefully you guys are always going to take me there, because I have fun there. By the way, the sound was amazing. Yeah. That's between you and I. Yeah. It was amazing. It's very professional. The team worked perfectly. You know, everyone was playing on time. Time was respected. There's nothing negative that I can say that I saw. Another thing, there's no problems there. I didn't see no one fighting. Everyone was just you take kids there. My kids always go there every year. To me, I love the festival. It's very family oriented. So, I mean, there's nothing negative to say. All I can say is thank you for making me part of that festival, to tell you the truth.
Listen, it's an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Know?
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show and having this conversation with us. And for all of you out there, thank you for joining us. And we hope that you'll join us again next week on the Forward Miami Show.